On today's episode, we're taking a look at Kelleran Beq's lightsaber, Ahmed Best, probably one of the most triumphant returns of any character in Star Wars, especially after what this poor guy went through with Jar Jar Binks. So, how accurate is this? It was very hard for me to dig into some details because you barely ever see this lightsaber. So, I'm going to show you what I came up with. Let's get at it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Collector's Outpost. I am John. Well, yeah, that's right. Today we're taking a look at Kelleran Beq's lightsaber, Ahmed Best himself. Now, we all remember what this poor guy went through after the prequels as Jar Jar Binks. This guy was dragged through the mud because of that character, to the point where he thought about taking his life and jumping off a bridge.
The reason why I almost ended my life on the Brooklyn Bridge was because 20 years ago, I played Jar Jar Binks in Star Wars. I faced a media backlash that really made me feel like my life was over. There was just so much hate, and I took it personally.
His story is phenomenal. And after going through what he went through as Jar Jar and what people said and how they made him feel, I believe it was said that George Lucas said, you're just gonna have to take this, and 20 years down the line or something like that, people are going to think different because these movies were for kids, and when those kids turn into adults, you are now going to be one of their favorite characters, or at least remembered really well. And that's kind of what the case is here. And yeah, Jar Jar was goofy, but I am so unbelievably happy of the return of him and the reception everybody gave him. There's a love now, I think, for Ahmed's new Jedi character. Well, he's not new, he's kind of been around for a little bit now. There's like a show or something, and Kelleran is part of that show, game show or something like that. But I think now we have a whole new level of love for this character and the man himself. Now, before we dig into this lightsaber, if you're new here, please drop down, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button for upcoming videos. I've got a ton of lightsabers and a bunch of Star Wars 6-scale figures, and I think a couple of Batman figures and an Indiana Jones figure. Hopefully they'll all be in this year. I know Darth Vader and Kenobi are coming very soon. And as always, if you are a returning viewer to hang out at the channel, thanks so much for coming back and hanging out. Let's dig into this lightsaber. Now, this was sent over by my good friends over at Vaders Sabers, and hey, we've got some new boxes here, and I'm really digging the design. The fact that they got Darth Vader's lightsaber outline on the back there. Totally digging this box. I really like the artwork on it. And I know a lot of you are gonna say, what happened to the hard cases? Well, you could still get those hard shell cases if you want. Now, a lot of companies are not really including those cases anymore. A lot of them are coming in these more custom style boxes. And honestly, those hard cases are so hard to store, especially if you have a collection of sabers like I do. I gotta be honest with you, I've thrown so many of them out at this point. I only keep a handful of them just for these reviews, and I'm so glad that a lot of these are coming in more of these cardboard style boxes, because these boxes will be a lot easier to get rid of if you want to just toss them in the recycling bin, or if you want to hold on to them. Honestly, most of us display our lightsabers, so chances are holding on to these boxes are just gonna take up space. And you've got 5, 6, 7, 8, or 100 or 100 plus lightsabers like I do. These boxes take up a lot of real estate. But anyway, that said, let's dig into this lightsaber. Now, again, this is the Kelleran Beq Lightsaber. This is a XENO V3, which we'll take apart in a moment to check out. Now, included, obviously, is the Kelleran Beq Lightsaber here. Now, how accurate is this to the screen-used prop? Honestly, I had a hard time digging up screen-used props, like production photos or anything. So I sat there like a ridiculous idiot, really like frame by frame going through the show, trying to find out what I can dig up about this lightsaber, and I'll show you a couple things that I found in a little bit. So let's dig into what else this comes with. It obviously has the manual here. It has a lot of details about the XENO V3 app, so you can dig through this and get some more information about that. Also included is your hex wrench and a couple extra retention screws. And we have our USB-C charging cable. And we have a really, really nice blade plug here that is in the accessories section, which is a very, very nice blade plug. I really like these. This is a 7/8 blade. If you're looking for blade plugs for this lightsaber, it is a 7/8 blade. And then we have our 7/8 blade. This is a 32-inch blade, I believe. It's gonna be nice and bright because it is thinner. And that also means that you should not ever duel with this particular blade because they are thin-walled blades. They are a lot thinner than the 1-inch blades. So if you do kind of bang these around, do expect that they will shatter. But the one thing they're gonna do is look amazing in photos because they're gonna be super bright. Now with this blade plug, it is translucent, so it's gonna go in there. So let's turn this on really quick just so I can show you what that'll look like. This is a fully removable chassis. Right up top here on the front, we do have a kill switch, which is awesome. That'll really help preserve your battery when you're done playing around with this thing. Always flip it off. Then we have our 18650 battery and our USB-C charging port right there. And right on the back, you can see our SD card. This makes it super easy to add some extra sound fonts. Now, at the end of this video and down in the description, I'll put a video clip that I made of installing sound fonts for XENO V3. Now, one thing I love about these chassis is that they are fully lit with LEDs all around the sides. Now, let me show you this blade plug really quick because you get some really nice shine through from the LEDs on the chassis there. You also have some great lights lighting up the side here. Now, how accurate is this design to the show? I spent a good couple of hours digging through the internet and watching the show, frame by frame, everything I can find that even had just the saber hanging from his belt. You actually see the other saber that he picks up more and in more detail than you do his actual lightsaber. And honestly, that was driving me insane. Now, a few of the best shots that I can dig up from the actual show, and I'm not talking about designs that other people did, I was really trying to find screen use or production photos of the hilt itself. And for whatever reason, I just can't seem to find any. And you would think in 2024 that there'd be like a catalog of screen used lightsabers out there, and I just can't seem to find it. And no, it's not in this book either. This book is from back in 2020, I believe. Yeah, Lucasfilm copyright 2020. So this is before The Mandalorian Season 3 came along. Not that I fully trust that book either, because I have found some inaccuracies in that as well. Now, the best things I have been able to come up with are some of the promotional photos and just flipping through frame by frame by frame. However, here is one shot that makes me think that this might not be as accurate as I was hoping. Now, let me start by saying I really, really like this lightsaber. It is a 7/8 blade, so that means the hilt itself is just a little bit thinner. There's nothing really getting in your way of your hand when you're spinning this thing around. It is a very comfortable lightsaber to use. Now, from what I've dug up, this is reasonably accurate. However, I do feel it might be a little bit too long, and it's missing a black band, like a little black bar over here. And I also noticed what looked like a red and black button over here. Then I came across this image from Galaxy of Heroes. Now, this basically confirms that there is a red and black button right there. Now, I tried to take a photo of me holding it in pretty much the exact same position as what Ahmed Best is holding in this promotional photo. And you can see that no matter where I put my hand, this is just a little bit too long. And you can see where he has his hand, you can see this one exposed button right over here and how close the cover tech is to his hand. Now, when you look at my photo, you can see how much longer it is because there's a huge gap between my hand and the cover tech clip. So that makes me think that this is maybe an inch too long. So I am very curious to see if there's going to be another company that will give a go at this saber like TXQ and make it a 1-inch blade and maybe just a little bit shorter. And I think that would benefit from that a lot. However, I really do love the feel and the thickness and how smooth it is on the hand, and there's nothing really obstructing your hand in any way. Nothing is sharp here, even if you hold it right there. Nothing's really digging into your hand or anything. Now let's look at another thing here, which I think is awesome. Vaders Sabers also offers a custom weathering service. And this is the first one I actually got in that is custom weathered by Russell himself. Vaders Sabers is located down in Florida, so that's really awesome. They do hold stock in some of these lightsabers, so they can do some of these custom jobs when somebody wants to add some weathering onto their lightsabers. So what you can see is all of the dirt and grime buildup all in the corners over here, all around the buttons and these little ribs over here, all the way down into here and down into the pommel. This is really adding that kind of in Star Wars world used, it's a little bit older, hasn't really cleaned it in a while, feel to this lightsaber, and I think that's really cool. And you can do this pretty much with any lightsaber that you order. And just from doing this myself, I could also feel that it does have a nice coating of matte clear on here to hold all of that stuff. So this should hold up pretty darn well. Now this is a XENO V3, so we do have the ability of using your mobile app, which is called the XENO Configurator. And the first thing I want to do is make sure that the firmware and everything is updated in here. So let's go over to the last tab, click into our Saber. So our firmware here is out of date. So we should be, as filming this video, 1.2.5. So let's update the firmware. So you're going to click on Update Software, New Software, Upgrade or Not. So we're going to do Update. All right, so we're gonna let that run. It doesn't take that long, just a couple of minutes, and that way we know that our Saber is fully up to date with the latest software. All right, so our Saber is updated. Now we do have to reconnect because it always disconnects it, and we have to turn our Saber back on because it always turns everything off. And all right, let's bounce back to the first page here. Now I'm just gonna show you a couple of things on this, and then I'm gonna show you how to do them on the Hilt, because honestly, what I have found over time is that I almost never use the app. Mostly everything is on the Hilt. As far as changing the blade size, you will need to do that in the app, and updating, you will need to do that in the app as well. If you're gonna wanna add some sound fonts, you're gonna have to do that with the SD card in your computer. So the app is really to just bang around really quick, audition a few things, tweak a few settings, and that's really about it. I'm not gonna be swinging my lightsaber around holding my cell phone. All right, so 90% of the adjustments that I ever make are always on the Hilt itself. Here on the app, we do have some great useful information, such as the amount of battery power we have left. So it's giving me an estimate of 1 hour and 52 minutes. We do have our power button right there up top. We have our volume adjuster, which I always usually leave around 50, 60-ish%. Then right next to the volume, we have our font select, which you can zip through all of your fonts right here. You have your lockup effects. You have your tip drag, you have blaster effects, force effect, all right, flash on clash. And now some of these things you actually can adjust by going into your fonts, going into settings. So force effects, I do like this other one. So let's go to 1. And then force light effect, I like that a lot. Clash light effect, we do have 3 versions of that. Let's go to 1. You can see the red is gone. This is what the app is really good for, to get in there and just make a couple of tweaks and find what you like best, and then pretty much put your phone away and enjoy your lightsaber. Now, another thing I do have to do, this is a shorter blade, so I want to go into page 2 and adjust for my 32-inch blade. So you'll be able to see that just like this, all right? So that would be like all the way on a 36-inch blade, and now I want to go down to a 32, which is somewhere, I think, about 120-ish. What you want to do to audition it, let's go back here. You can actually go into your light palette, turn your blade color down. It's going to leave just the effects here, as you can see. Now, what I want to do to make sure that I have this set correctly is go to my tip drag, right, and audition that. So now you can see that the tip drag is lighting up perfectly, so your blade is now adjusted correctly. Now over in the color here, you can just drag around. You'll see a live preview of everything that you touch. And then down here, you can even manually adjust colors And under that, you do have two other options of color changing. Infinite color is basically, it will just slowly scroll and fade between all of the colors. It's basically like a full spectrum of colors. And then next to that, it's just a quick color select where it's going to just hit on some of the main colors, like greens, a couple different variations of blues, a couple different variations of red, lighter, darker, but it won't scroll like the other one. So this way you can kind of quickly bang through all of those colors. Now over here on page 2, the big thing you want to set, especially if you're going to be using most of the hilt and want to use all the settings in the hilt, is turn on countdown. Now that's going to activate a beep sound on the hilt so that you know where you are in the menu when you're scrolling through it, because it is one button, so it's all based on timing, and having that beep tell you where you are in the menu is a lifesaver. Now one setting I do hope that they really add is the ignition and de-ignition, basically, speeds, how fast the blade comes out and goes back in. That's the only thing I see this app missing. All right, let's get to swinging this thing around, because honestly, this is one of the most comfortable lightsabers to swing around. It's basically like a stunt saber. So we do have twist on and off. Now for this video, I am going to turn the volume all the way up to 100. There are 3 settings for volume on the actual hilt itself. Now, there are also 4 menus. The first menu is volume. The second menu is blade style. Third menu is blade ignition, so you have a bunch of ignition styles, which you can also access on the app as well. And then 4 is font select. So let's do volume. All right, and you'll hear that bloop. That is that countdown tab that we turned on in the app. So,
volume high.
All right, so every time you hear that, you're in the menu system. All right, so you have high, low, and mute.
Volume high.
All right, next one is the blade style.
Steady.
All right.
Unstable.
All right, so I turned the volume all the way up. All right, now you can change the fonts by flipping upside down and just twisting counterclockwise.
The Protector. The Dark Empress. The Sun.
We have flash on clash, we have our blasters, we have lockup. I'm telling you, this is just so comfortable to swing around. Now, let me show you how to do the colors upside down, and there's 2 versions of it. You know, just like the app, you had the kind of scrolling spectrum where you can kind of fade through every color, and then you had the other one where it just kind of hits on some basic colors. So what you want to do is turn your saber on, right? Hold your button and twist counterclockwise or clockwise. We're gonna hold the button, go counterclockwise.
Color change.
So that is putting that into more of those hard colors, that quick select. Now the other way is clockwise. So you're gonna hold your button, twist clockwise.
Color change.
All right, and that's gonna put this into a mode where it's kind of like Profi, where you can just twist your saber, right, all the way and all the way this way. Basically, red is the end of the spectrum. But you select whatever color you want and you just hit your power button. All right, my friends, that is the Kelleran Beq Lightsaber, the return of Ahmed Best, which was an awesome appearance by him. I'm so glad he's here as a Jedi and everybody well received him. He was absolutely loved. Drop down below and let me know your thoughts on this lightsaber. This thing is super comfortable. And while you're down there in the comments, help support the channel. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification button, and share their videos out to the world on all your social media accounts. All right, I will see you all on the next video. Be safe and kind out there in the world. See ya.